Welcome back, everyone, to another Uninformed Movie Reviews. This is David. We got old Franklin here. We got old Danny as well. Today we're talking about movies, directors that we're thankful for, and the ones that we're not thankful for whatsoever, that we very much dislike.
Yes. Because what would it be to talk about things we enjoy without talking about things we do not enjoy and are a little bit spiteful about?
I guess today we are the thankful threesome.
How nice.
It's the most wholesome thing you've ever said.
And it really is a good time to be thankful, y'all. I'm very thankful because it's been a full 3 days since I've turned on my air conditioner. And I'm real thankful for my electric bill savings.
Yeah.
That time of year.
Are we all going to say something we're thankful for? Is that what's going on?
Sure. No, we don't have to.
I was just joking. That sounds miserable.
Yeah.
This is not Charlie Brown.
Frank, I think you're going to kick us off, right? And we're doing what we're least thankful for.
Yeah, let's get all the hate out of the way.
Begrudgingly about it.
Yeah. Coming up first on my list of bottoms, in spot number 3, I have the very old, very curmudgeon-y Clint Eastwood as a director I'm not super thankful for.
Wow.
He's done some cool stuff, but Gran Torino, The Mule.
Coming out the gate, swinging.
Not great. J. Edgar is probably the most boring movie that I've ever sat all the way through. I think the only other thing I disliked that much was The Interpreter, but The Interpreter is the only movie that I've walked out of like in the theater because I was like, nah, I could be doing other things right now.
Wow.
But J. Edgar,
seen that.
Oh my goodness, what a bore fest.
I feel like there are a lot of hardcore fans of Gran Torino, though. There's some people who love that movie.
I think it's great.
It's the concept's all right. Those actors are terrible. Like all those like young kids, they're all bad, man.
You know what they are? They are a boomer's projection of what like young people are.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing about Clint Eastwood's movies. It's very much he puts a lot of his personality into them, and that's like an old bigoted man,
And I see what you're talking about, especially when it goes past Gran Torino. Like I watched The Mule not long ago, and that was one that was filmed in like Las Cruces and El Paso a little bit, and
which was like the sell for me. It's the reason I watched it.
It's a big old stink fest.
Isn't every movie that Clint Eastwood's ever been involved in been filmed around El Paso? I say that facetiously, but
yeah,
it just seems like they could. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The Mule's a snore fest for sure. I did in J. Edgar. Did they ever show him dressed up?
No, and that's my biggest complaint about J. Edgar is like you made this boring movie and you left out the part that would add some spice. Like that would have brought me back in. I would have been like, oh snap, now we're getting to the good stuff. But no, man, Snorefest.
That's something to not be thankful for. I agree.
It's like a really high definition, really dramatic lit Snorefest.
How do you feel about Westerns, Frank?
I can dig a Western,
Okay.
Like I've seen that dude in a lot of Westerns. I don't know if he directed any of them.
There's some he's directed that are pretty good, but I could see what you're saying, especially when we look at these later years. Yikes.
Yeah.
Although we talked about this on the World War II podcast. Highly recommend. But Flags of Our Fathers and Letters from Iwo Jima, those movies are great. They're fantastic. If you guys ever get a chance.
Letters from Iwo Jima is dope.
Yeah,
I still haven't gotten around to watching those. I need to knock it out.
Quarantine is the time. It's the time to do it. Well, who we kicking to next?
I'd like to.
Yeah, let's go popcorn style. I was gonna hit Danny anyways.
Oh, that's
perfect.
Well, before we move on, fellas, and listeners listening alike, please take some time to check us out at David and Frank and Beans. Subscribe to our channel. We've got Uninformed movie reviews, and we've got Apollo City Comics. I guess you could check them out too. I couldn't keep a straight face while I said Apollo City Comics.
Fair enough.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Uninformed Movie Reviews, where this lovely gentleman posts highly recommended recommendations.
Ooh.
Moving on, guys. I'm still confused, and I know we just talked about this. Am I going for my least thankful right now, or am I going for my less thankful for?
You're going for your less thankful.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we build the tension.
We've done T3B3 on this channel as many times as possible, and I still can't get it. So here we are.
It's quite frankly alarming at this point. It's like a little scary.
Yeah, you also have a loose understanding of like first position runner up, but it's just a thing with you.
I blame the education system and Betsy DeVos.
Well, we were part of the.
Wasn't when I was in school.
Yeah, we were more a product of the Bush administration, which I mean, no child left behind.
Not
what
much
are you gonna
better.
do?
I know what you guys were doing in high school. You don't have to blame the system.
It was teachers like you, David.
Well, before I moved on to this is my less thankful for things that I'm less thankful for, and let's see here.
Oh, that means it's
Okay.
about to get real.
I like that Frank came out of the gate swinging, so I'm also going to be coming out the gate swinging. I'm less thankful for Kevin Smith. And
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Yeah, and I know. Really, the way I compiled my bottom list is I wanted to choose people not that I could just purely crap on, but people that would give me a tough time to crap on.
Smart.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Bit of a
I'm
challenge.
thankful for them, but I'm less thankful for them. You know what I mean? So let me just give you a little bit of background here. Kevin Patrick Smith, born August 2nd, 1970 in Red Bank, New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
He's an American filmmaker, actor, comedian, public speaker, comic book writer, author, podcaster, annoying geek. He came to prominence with the low-budget comedy film Clerks. You might have heard of it in 1994. He wrote, directed, co-produced, and acted as the character in Silent Bob of the stoner duo Jay and Silent Bob. I guess I'll just go for those who are not familiar. I love early Kevin Smith, and that's why this is so painful for me because it just keeps diluting as time goes on. So I'm just going to read it to the listener right now. We got Clerks, we got Mallrats, we got Chasing Amy, we got Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, a banger. Jersey Girl, Clerks 2, also a banger. Cop Out, Red State, a surprisingly late in the game banger.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Tusk, which is okay. Yoga Hosers, which is walk out. Yoga Hosers is so bad. And the latest would be the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, which is so bad I couldn't even finish watching it for free on Amazon Prime.
Wow.
Oh wow, I didn't get the gumption to check that one out.
Oh man.
Yeah, Tusk isn't good. Tusk is an experience. I definitely recommend
You have to
watching it once, you know? Like just it's something you got to do. Danny and I saw it together and we were both just kind of sitting in silence at the end of that movie like trying to figure out how we were going to go on living our lives after that moment.
I still haven't seen that movie yet. I
You
need to
haven't
watch
seen
it.
Tusk? Yeah, I feel like because you can see there's a pivotal part in Kevin Smith's career where he turns towards like a horror comedy route.
Is that a bit of an over-exaggeration, though? It's
Yeah.
like Red
3
State
movies.
and Tusk.
And
It's
Yoga
like 2
Hosers.
movies. Is Yoga Hosers? Okay.
Like a horror comedy, but
okay.
it was really just a way for him to have Johnny Depp's daughter in a movie with his daughter and write off some stuff, you know. But Tusk is worth it, man. If you're even into cult horror in the slightest, I think you'll like Tusk because it's watchable and dumb.
Especially if body horror is your thing cuz
Yeah, you'll get some Cronenberg vibes, that's for sure.
I didn't know that he did Zack and Miri Make a Porno, which I've never seen.
Oh, I missed out. I missed that one out.
that's a pretty good one. I am a
That is
fan.
good. Well, let's just be clear. I love Clerks. I love Jay and Silent Bob, minus the second one. Dogma is one of my favorites in his whole pantheon of movies.
Yeah, I was going to say especially out of the early stuff, Dogma's probably
it's
my
so
favorite.
good. And Mallrats, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Dogma's fun. Dogma's a fun movie.
But I mean, just the comedy gets worse, and it's like he's on a level now that is like of writing comedy. From what I noticed from the last couple movies, that is just it's worse than National Lampoon. It's like where
Wow.
National Lampoon lost all its venom once like they did the second Van Wilder movie, and they kept doing Van Wilder movies that go straight to like DVD. You know what I mean? It's like that level.
All the
bad.
Van Wilder spin-offs.
Yeah, Rise of Taj, right? Is that it?
Yeah. It's bad. And
Wow.
he's lost a lot of my respect, especially because like the last 3 releases he had are just bad, which would be Yoga Hosers and Jay and Silent Bob.
That's 2.
Not only that, but his comic book guys show on AMC is real annoying.
That's not going on anymore, is it? Maybe it is.
You know, I've
that's
never seen any of that stuff, but I think it was last week or the week before I was talking to Brandon about he's doing like a new intro for Apollo City, and he was like, yeah, I'm not trying to do like that annoying Kevin Smith intro anymore. And I was like, man, if Brandon thinks Kevin Smith is annoying, because I know he's all up on Kevin Smith's junk, this guy must be doing pretty rough these days.
Wow. Brandon dropped the, hey, welcome to Apollo City Comics.
I know. I was like, that's your thing.
Yeah. And I remember when he came up with it, he even said, I'm kind of going for a Kevin Smith thing.
Oh my God.
I guess he just finally matured or something. I don't know.
Oh, well, thank God he's out of that phase.
You know, he takes a while to come around the corner of where we're at, you know?
He's a late bloomer.
Yeah. What are you going to say? All right. Well, enough trash talking about Kevin Smith and people related to him.
That does not include you, Brandon. I want you to know we'll never stop trash talking you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're terrible.
for my for my number 3 of my unthankful directors, and I feel like I interpreted this a little bit differently, which is cool. I really like where you went with it, Danny. I wish I would have thought of it that way. I just went for straight up directors that I would be thankful if their work was erased from the planet. Like what would make me most thankful is the opposite of their existence. Okay, so
I like
my
the
number
direction
3
you went, David. I like it.
Well, yeah. Oh, so you cut out just a little bit, but I got.
You still picked up what I put down?
Yeah, exactly. It's like playing a Jackbox game. That's what recording the podcast is like. I picked everybody Paul W.S. Anderson.
I knew it. I knew you were going to put him on here. It's the best.
Yeah, I have to. I mean, okay, so if you're not familiar with Paul W.S. Anderson, on IMDb, the things he's most known for is Resident Evil. Apocalypse, for some reason, is the one that they have on here, which I think is 2. He produced The Three Musketeers, which is maybe one of the most forgettable movies, and came out in 2011. No one remembers it. And Mortal Kombat from 95. He directed the original Mortal Kombat, which, you know, I gotta say,
It's pretty good, man.
it's not bad. I mean, it's not good, but this is someone who enjoys the Mario Bros.
As
movies,
far,
so.
yeah, I was gonna say, as far as video
definitely
game inspired
better.
movies from the '90s, it's pretty all right.
Plus, if we didn't have that movie, we would never have the soundtrack.
Yeah, I mean, the soundtrack alone is worth anything.
But you know,
that's-
didn't he also do Event Horizon too?
Maybe he had something to do with it. Let me see here. Oh,
Is
you know
it
what?
a
He
directing
did direct Event Horizon.
Nice.
As Paul Anderson, and I've never seen that, and I've always heard it's really, really good.
It's
That's a
dope,
solid
especially if
movie.
you're on that Sam Neill kick you got right now, with like In the Mouth of Madness. It's good.
I should return and check that out. But the reason why he's the guy I'm talking about is for the Resident Evil movies, everyone. I've seen the first 2, and then after that, I've seen like 15 minutes of some of them. And they're just so atrocious. They're so atrocious, and like, as a Resident Evil fan, it's just highly offensive.
Is he married to Mila Jovovich?
Yes, they are married.
Okay,
I mean,
That makes sense.
You don't have to ask. You know what I mean? It's obvious. It's like, you see it. It's the only reason that they're working together for both of them. Mila Jovovich would never work with that guy, or vice versa. She could have had a.
Sometimes directors hiring their wives like pans out, and sometimes it's just a bad idea. They need to stop doing it. Rob Zombie.
Oh my gosh! Right? Yeah, it's another perfect. Man, I should put Rob Zombie on my list. Shoot, you guys, when you said wait, what was I'm totally blanking on the director you put out, Danny. I was so offended. Kevin Smith.
I was so offended.
When you said Kevin Smith, I blacked out in rage for a second. I was like, I hate Kevin Smith. How did I not think of this?
All you
And
heard
then I
was like that ringing in your ears of white hot hate.
Yeah. And then as soon as we stopped talking about Kevin Smith, I tried to block it out of my mind. Okay, push him away. push him away. But anyways, Paul W.S. Anderson, the most painful thing, because I love Resident Evil. The story in Resident Evil is ridiculous, and let's be honest.
It's so bad. And they have such a great structure to work off of.
Yeah, the set pieces are nice, like the setting's cool, and the lore of the universe is interesting, but then you get into like the actual character interaction, and it's pretty awful. I mean, there's a couple that, like, I think those remakes actually do a pretty good job of making the story seem slightly less hokey. But the thing that hits worse, man, is that George Romero was supposed to do the Resident Evil movie.
Oh my God.
And they scrapped him, and they went with Paul W.S. Anderson.
It could have been so much better.
It can't be forgiven.
Yeah, that would have been a completely different film.
Yeah. But anyway, that's it for me. Frank, what do you have next for us?
You're so angry.
Yeah. I'm gonna be angry with this first half of the episode, everyone. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you look like you're uncomfortable. It's honestly very nice to see.
I'm very thankful for it.
Yeah,
well, I'm a little bit sick too, so I found myself more irritated all day. Like, if I come off as like an extra amount of just that's the reason, everyone.
In my number 2 slot on my bottoms, I have none other than Jason Friedberg, who is responsible for all those god-awful spoof movies from the aughts and the 2010s. Oh my goodness.
I didn't even know the man's name.
I didn't know this either.
I didn't know his name either, but I was like, ooh, you know who I hate? So I Googled one of them, and I was like, of course he did them all. Of course he did all of them.
I'm so glad you had to.
Yeah.
Your initial thought was just like, who is it?
Yeah, I was like, ooh, who does all those goddamn movies? Yeah, and his name is Jason Friedberg. He's responsible for Date movie, Epic movie, Meet the Spartans, Disaster movie, all those piles of garbage. He's got a new one in pre-production right now, spoofing the Star Wars universe. So that should be a big pile of garbage.
Can I read this title real quick because it's obnoxious?
Yeah, I didn't write it down because it was way too long. David, hit it.
It's Star World's episode XXXIVE equals MC squared. The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi Who Went Rogue.
So you know.
This guy. Oh wow, this dude must be so annoying in real life.
Oh my God, I imagine this gentleman, like, I've never seen his name or his face until earlier today, but I imagine him being that kid in class who's like always trying to be funny, but he's just really not funny. But he won't quit. Like, he just won't quit. And this guy won't quit, you know? He's bringing another one of these pile of garbages.
This guy's face is matching exactly the description.
That's so mean.
Yeah, dude.
Let's not body shame, okay? We can talk trash about how awful he is in life.
Ooh, he did Meet the Spartans?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm almost speechless. I've got to the same place. For that chain of years, it was like there was one of these every year. And for
almost.
a little bit, it
like
looks like
one every year,
year,
one day the other year. Like it almost seemed like at the top of every summer you had to see like the garbage trailer for the garbage movie this guy was putting out.
And it was whatever was hot like 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm,
you know what I mean?
One saving grace, but also a weird thing. Scary Movie, the first one. This guy directed that one. But it's also weird because it's a spoof, like that plot they take from Scream, which is already in itself like a satire of the horror genre, but it's still like a horror.
You know what though? I would say this is actually a pretty good example, I think, of like spoof versus satire, because I would say Scream is a satire, and Scary Movie is a spoof, and like a bad one. Well, not as bad as some of these other ones. Like Scary Movie's like 1 and 2 aren't terrible.
No, 1 and 2 are watchable.
Great.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny? When I Googled this man, that the Google results gave me the IMD first off, but then right under the IMD description, it said star sign Capricorn. And I was just like, okay, thanks for giving me that most pertinent information on Google.
You know, I kept seeing that too. Like when I was doing my research, I was like, why is IMDb so concerned with these people's star signs? Like, get out of here. Sorry?
No, go ahead.
One thing I just popped into my head, and there's no directors on my bottoms who are like these terrible people we find out in Hollywood, because that's like a given. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be discussing any of those like dirt bags. Like, why even mention their names at this point? So I just wanted to put it out there in case you're listening and you're like, why aren't these guys talking about any of these garbage men? It's because them.
I gotta change the rest of my list real quick. Can you guys? No, I'm just joking.
You know, I gotta say, I haven't been more happy about the 2020 quarantine taking away a movie as much as I have about learning Star World's episode XXXIVE equals MC squared The Force Awakens The Last Jedi. Who went rogue? Probably won't happen because it's in pre-production.
Yeah, hopefully that gets canceled hard.
At least there's that.
A very welcome casualty of 2020.
But that's pretty much gonna do it for me. Like on my number 2, I just I have so much disdain from the memories of just being tormented by this guy's terrible movies year after year after year. And it appears that he's not done. Who knows what? Yeah, maybe after this one gets canned, he'll just stop and go do something else.
Amazing that he's not done.
I hope that if you're listening to this podcast, you don't enjoy these movies. I can't afford to be more offended today.
You're at the wrong place if that's your taste palette.
Dear listener, if you find yourself offended at these bottom picks, just go ahead and unsubscribe. That's fine.
Because we're not going to talk about these movies again.
We're hurting for the numbers too, but get out of here.
That's a podcast with integrity.
Lean but mean. All right.
Danny, you're number 2.
That's going to popcorn over to me. Fellas, I know you will have no problem joining in on this. The man I'm talking about is Eli Roth.
Ooh.
I couldn't put him on my list. He's going to fall up there with like Rob Zombie for me. Like there's a lot of things I really hate about this guy, but also like there's a few things I do really enjoy.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
And that's just what keeps going on with my list. I had to classify him as, in parentheses, lesser thankful for.
Nice.
Eli Raphael Roth, born April 18th,
1842.
in Newton, Massachusetts. He's an American film director, producer, editor, writer, and actor. As a director and producer, he's mostly close associated with horror genre, first coming to prominence for directing the films Cabin Fever and Hostel. And for y'all youngins, whoever's listening, that don't know who Eli Roth is, Cabin Fever, Hostel 1, Hostel 2. He also did Nation's Pride in Inglourious Bastards, a film within a film, which we talked about on our Quentin Quarantino episode. Check that out.
Wow, nice.
The Green Inferno, a huge disappointment of the Cannibal Holocaust.
My goodness.
Basic reboot, what it was. Knock Knock. Have you guys seen Knock Knock?
No, but I hear it's totally ridiculous. And now that I know it's an Eli Roth movie, I'm probably not going to watch it.
I've seen it. And I didn't know it was an Eli Roth movie. And now that I saw it on his filmography, I was like, this makes a lot of sense. Death Wish and The House with the Clock in Its Walls, which I have not seen. But let's just go ahead and say, I mean, I like...
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I feel like if you're going to point out Eli Roth for the people who don't know him, he's the bear Jew in Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
Or the really gross guy who wanders into camp in Cabin Fever. Shout out to our Cabin Fever review on our CLE.
I had forgotten about that. Yeah, I mean, I got to say, like, I think his shining pride is probably Hostel 1. And it's weird that his second shining pride for me would be, like, The Nation's Pride, that film within a film. That's probably, like, the second best thing other than Cabin Fever.
To be fair, though, that has a lot to do with your white supremacy.
Yeah, well, can't hide it.
No, Danny, you should hide your white supremacy.
I unapologetically love Cabin Fever. Even the last time we watched it, it was... Some parts of it made me cringe so hard in the worst ways, but I still love that movie. It must be just... It's Sean Hunter, let's be honest. That's what I'm there for.
What can you do? I mean, Cabin Fever is a fun ride. I'll give you that. Hostel is probably one of my favorite, like, gore porn, like, horror movies. Especially when they slice his Achilles tendon, because it just takes me straight back to Pet Sematary. And I just remember seeing that for the first time as a kid and just being like, oh my God, that's the most terrifying thing I can think of in my little like 9-year-old mind.
I'm pretty sure it's Hostel 1 where that they walk in on this like warehouse and this dude's like Bunsen burning or like burning this chick's eyeball out, right? Or is that Hostel 2?
I think it's the first one.
I think it's the first one.
I've never seen either of those movies.
Oh.
I'll have to watch Hostel sometime.
It's very gory. Like, it makes me a little cringy at how gory it is.
Yeah, that's what I like about it, really.
Again, it's like, I'm at a point in my life, time is fleeting. Every second counts. Why watch 2 Eli Roth movies?
We already wasted all that time on a way out. We'll never get it back.
Exactly. That was like 8 hours at least.
Yeah,
12
dude.
hours maybe.
I'm glad that the scale of things that are bad on our channel always go from, well, it's not a way out. That's like the rock bottom.
Like
really is,
the
man.
bottom line is a way out and scary stories to tell in the dark. They're like, it's way down there.
Yeah. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is worse than A Way Out, I feel like.
Yeah, I
feel
was more disappointed.
I feel like when we had this conversation on the podcast, though, I said the opposite. I feel like I said A Way Out was still worse. I don't know. Maybe I'm now looking back after having time to really mull it over. That movie's awful.
It's so bad. And they're doing another one.
Of course they are.
Well, let's kick it over to D-Pens.
Man, I love that you picked Eli Roth because my next pick is the most logical follow-up to Eli Roth. And it's Quentin Tarantino's other posse member. It's Robert Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah.
I hate Robert Rodriguez, and I hate the assumption that people make that I would enjoy Robert Rodriguez movies. And I think that just comes with being like a Tarantino fan. You talk to people, oh, I really like Pulp Fiction. I really like Reservoir Dogs. Oh, have you seen From Dusk Till Dawn? Isn't that great? I'm like, movie's garbage. It's so bad, and you should feel bad for enjoying it.
Do a lot of people give you that? Do a lot of people give you that recommendation?
Well, you know what? Earlier in my life, like in high school when we were talking about movies all the time, like me and my friends, I would get that kind of stuff all the time. People would be like, oh, Desperado is so cool. You should go watch Desperado.
Oh, I hate that movie.
And then I'm like, ugh, this is gross. Also, my dad owned quite a few Robert Rodriguez movies. So they were always like laying around my house. Like I had the trilogy of the Mariachi trilogy.
I mean, he's definitely like a filmmaker for like Carlos Santana fans. For sure.
I could,
He's got the riffs.
I could see that. I was staying quiet this whole time because I do enjoy Desperado, and I do like A Dusk Till Dawn, but a Dusk Till Dawn, it's in the bad good category for me. Like I do enjoy watching that movie. It's like super not great. So that's what I like about it.
There's
what about Planet Terror, David? Don't you love Planet Terror?
I hate Planet Terror. Planet Terror is so bad.
Yeah.
It really kills the whole double feature thing when half the double feature is garbage. All they needed to do was make a light, fun zombie movie to couple with Tarantino's super slow thriller. A super slow thriller, ironically set with a bunch of high-speed chases.
Yeah, Tarantino, like, he would have carried it, you know what I mean? He didn't even have to try that hard.
Yeah, exactly. It had to be watchable, and somehow they couldn't live up to that. He also did Spy Kids, which is weird. I've never seen those.
Strange. You've never seen Spy Kids?
No.
Dude, the first Spy Kids is honestly kind of cool. There's a lot of like, I don't know. There's like some really like sinister, surreal scenes that I really like. Like they still stick in my head.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would say the first
one. It's a lot like an acid trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, that's weird. I would have never guessed that. Like when I was a kid, it just seemed like, oh, this is James Bond, but for like 10-year-olds.
No.
It's got the second Willy Wonka, the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory vibe. It's got kind of that vibe, but a little bit better.
Okay, well,
yeah,
maybe.
It's that creepiness, but done better for sure.
Did he do Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
Yeah,
too?
He did that too. The only movie on here that I kind of somewhat enjoy, we've talked about most of them, The Faculty, and I don't know why. It's so...
You did The Faculty?
Yeah, it's so awful, but, I somehow enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some good bad.
And what's the other one? Oh, he did Sin City, which I'm not crazy about.
It's not the best.
I'm not crazy about it.
I've never made it all the way through Sin City. I've tried to watch it a couple times, and I've just other things have caught my interest. Just
it's
like
too long.
I'm gonna go do this.
There's something about watching a Robert Rodriguez movie, and it's the same thing with Zack Snyder, which I would have put him on the list too. But it's so apparent that you're watching their movie, and it's like so heavily stylized in their particular flavor, and they're just also kind of douchey, and it
That's
like
what I was
comes
gonna
off.
say. The same thing can be said for Eli Roth. Like they are broy.
Yeah,
Like
And
they'd be kicking it with Zach Baggins.
and Tarantino's there, and if Tarantino's movies weren't so good, they'd be intolerable. Like if Tarantino was like a okay filmmaker, his movies would be unwatchable. But you can take a little bit of his, eccentricities. I can't say it.
Eccentricities.
Eccentricities. You can take a little bit of it with Tarantino because you're getting such a nice finished product.
He's like a quality writer. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's a big point too.
And a very entertaining interviewee or just person to harass on the street.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Let's wrap this up. I'm
We got to get inspired after this. This is good because it's going to make the thankful ones even more thankful while we talk about it.
Yeah, that's
so.
what I was thinking. We purge and then we stop being so pissed off. Well, boys, for my number one, I got a big one, a big old blockbuster of a stinker. This gentleman's done plenty of huge movies, some of which like I enjoy. There's some good ones. But
I think I know who this is.
gentlemen,
I think I know too.
Michael Bay.
Yeah.
It made my
I was
number
feeling
one
it.
spot on the list because I've always had dislike for Michael Bay. He hurts my head. He ruins movies by having his movie play in the theater next to you, and all these movies play they're like their sound way too loud, and you just hear all the explosions while you're trying to watch some dramatic like horror movie. And he made the number one spot on my list because of his new project, the trailer that just came out, Songbird, the money grab to take advantage of people's COVID fears. Shame on you, Michael Bay. Shame on you.
That man loves making a quick buck. That's for sure.
Michael Bay loves money, dude. Loves it. But I mean, what are you going to do, For sure, like... There's a few of his films that I enjoy. There's some good ones. The Rock is solid. I believe I recommended that to you, David. Even though it is a Michael Bay film, that is a good watch for sure.
Oh yeah, The Rock is great.
Bad Boys, not a piece of art. Pretty funny. I'll give him that. I haven't watched the third one. I don't know if I will.
Some things are better left alone.
Yeah, right. But yeah, man, like, I don't know, like South Park made fun of him perfectly. Like special effects, you can't just make that be your movie, dude. Like you can't just do CGI and blow things up. But people will keep throwing money at him if he keeps doing it. America,
well, he did make
you vote with your dollar.
Transformers, and Armageddon somehow got an Oscar, so there's that.
People had a decision to make between that movie and Deep Impact, and America chose wrong. What are you going to do?
That is sad. Can we just take a moment and talk about a real stinker, Pearl Harbor?
Yeah,
Oh
dude.
man.
Like and like Michael Bay's movies are way too long for what you're getting.
Wait a second. If I remember correctly, didn't Pearl Harbor come out like right after 9/11?
It came out in 2000.
It definitely didn't come out right after Pearl Harbor.
Oh, May.
It came out right before 9/11.
Okay,
Oof.
that's why it got so much money, I think.
What a weird yikes! What a weird parallel.
Yeah, super strange. And that movie's terrible.
It's really bad.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's a money grab at America's heartstrings, much like Songbird is going to be.
Yeah, in case you guys haven't seen that trailer for Songbird, you should really check it out. I'm talking to the audience here. I know you guys saw because I said it to you, but it's like literally like it's like, oh, it's COVID-24 now. It's evolved, and like everyone's dead, and I don't know. There's like the government is rounding up people if you're not taking your test. It's just like, this is not what we need, man. This is totally tasteless.
Yeah,
Like, can't you just wait till the pandemic's over?
it is. It is some borderline Alex Jones level fear mongering.
Yeah.
Reals.
1776. 1776.
Yes, and for that very shameful reason, this human piece of garbage is getting my number one spot. Least thankful for. Just go away. Go away, Michael Bay. If it rhymes, it's got to be
I was
true.
going to put Michael Bay on my list as well, Frank, so I'm glad you went with it. I had a feeling someone was going to.
Someone had to, right? Yeah.
Had to be done.
Well, fellas, that leads to me for my big ol' stanker, my least thankful. And that will go to Robert Bartlett Cummings, otherwise known as Rob Zombie.
Ah,
Oh my God.
he appears.
It's like Bartlett Cummings. What?
I've
his
never
name
heard of
is
this dude.
Robert Bartlett Cummings.
Bartlett. Yeah.
Well, I could see why he went with zombie.
I mean, for those who have not seen a Rob Zombie movie, he does have some good ones. Don't get me wrong. I do love House of a Thousand Corpses. I do love The Devil's Rejects. I think it is, dare I say, his best movie, The Devil's Rejects. But honestly, before that, I was a little nu metal kid for sure. But I also loved Rob Zombie's directed music videos. Living Dead Girl, Dragula, More Human Than Human. He's done some really good music video stuff before he even made movies. But House of a Thousand Corpses came out, and I was all about it. It was super good, super scary. Devil's Rejects came out and made it even better. It wasn't even a scary movie. The Devil's Rejects is more of like a drama action, it almost feels like. It doesn't even feel like a horror.
Yeah.
I mean, that ending sequence of Devil's Rejects is amazing.
The Devil's Rejects feels a little bit like a very certain type of Western. Like it's about like the crew that's held up, like the law's after them. They got to make their like last stand. You know what I mean? That's a fun movie.
It's like a Johnny Cash, like an outlaw Western kind of thing.
Except your outlaws like rape some women and like murder a bunch of people at the beginning of the movie.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
questionable.
Like, it's not so much your Bonnie and Clyde romantic kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's weird because it's like the movie is kind of set that way, but when the first like 20 minutes of it makes it hard to root for them. It's kind of a bizarre dynamic going on there.
Especially because it's Sherry Moon, and Sherry Moon is so annoying. And woo. Anyway, we also got Halloween 1 and 2, which people praised the heck out of Halloween 1. I saw it, and it's good, but man, it gets real bad in the second one. And I remember walking over to David's house maybe like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and he happened to be watching Halloween 2 while I walked in. And you're just like, dude, just watch this. And you like rewound it a little bit. And it was like the really questionable scene with like a 14-year-old girl or something.
Yeah, man, this is like Kevin Smith. It's something I try to block out of my memory a little bit, but Halloween 2 is an atrocious movie, even when you match it up against other movies in the Halloween franchise, which is insane to think about.
That's saying something.
Yeah, it's got some pretty underachieving siblings.
Yeah. You know, in those movies in particular, there's something about Rob Zombie's like sexual violence that makes me really uncomfortable. It's like what I'm just not down for. But I guess even going back to, his music days, he's kind of got like a vampire quality, if that makes any sense.
Daddy.
Yeah.
He's like an Anne Rice character. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, it gets worse. There's Lords of Salem.
Poop. That movie's poop. I was so upset at the time I wasted watching that movie.
I think you just watched it like the other day.
Yeah, it was like a week or two ago that I watched it.
You just talked about it on the last podcast.
I did, yeah. I needed to do a civic duty and tell people not to watch that movie. Damn it.
Looking at the list, I don't like any of these movies. Like Halloween 1, which when I saw it I saw that movie in high school, and I'd never seen the original Halloween.
Really?
And I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I saw the original Halloween after I saw the remake, and I was like, that movie sucks. Like, and I watched it like the last time, because it's what you were saying 2 or 3 years ago. There was a point where I was running through all the major slasher franchises, and when I got around to the Rob Zombie one again, I remember telling Michelle, "Oh, this is gonna be so enjoyable. It's gonna be so enjoyable." It's just not that good, man. And then that Danny McBride one came out. It's like, what's the point of even talking about this movie? Just watch the Danny McBride one.
Yeah, that's a banger right there.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Who would have thunk it?
I've never gotten past the first 20 minutes of House of a Thousand Corpses.
It's weird, for sure, but I dig it.
It's one that you know. It's another weird one. My dad owned a copy of that on DVD, and I couldn't get through it.
Well, it's not for everyone. That's for sure.
I mean, yeah, totally fair. Just like new metal.
Yeah, just like new metal, and just like what
Accurate.
is his genre? It's like it's not even gothic. It's like
industrial
horror.
rock.
No, yeah, horror industrial. It's like horror metal or something like that.
It's hellbilly rock, man.
Hellbilly. It's like the evolution of Alice Cooper, essentially. But different strokes. But he has some real bad movies, and I wish he would stop.
You know, I heard something on old Joe Rogan Experience. He was on there a while back, Rob Zombie, and he was saying that like when he started a band, none of them knew how to play instruments, and none of them knew anything at all, like what direction to go. So they just like wrote songs, and that's how their songs came out. Like being able to barely play guitar.
Makes sense.
And then when he finally started to take a stab at making movies, again, he had no idea what he was doing. Like he knew
That
nothing
still
about
comes
directing or writing. He was just like, let's make a movie. And I think you feel that. Like Devil's Rejects, I don't hate as much as some of these other ones. But you feel how like scrambled they are. But the benefit, I would say, is that they feel so unique.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, his voice is so like particular, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
not the
credit for
worst,
that.
but he's not the best by any means.
He's got a super unrefined style, and sometimes it's like not charming.
Well, speaking of not charming, let's talk about Yui Ball, everybody.
I knew it. I knew he was going to be on here.
Yui Bowl, I should say. Sorry, I mispronounced his name, but you know what?
Bowl.
I don't care, man. You're awful. Yui Bowl, ladies and gentlemen, is my number one. And I'm going to be honest, he's got 33 director's credits. I've seen 2 of these movies, and it's more than enough. It's more than enough for me to say, these are awful, never go near them. And the movies I'm talking about is House of the Dead.
He did Blood Rain.
Yeah. Yui Ball did House of the Dead in 2003. It's got a 2 out of 10 on IMDb.
Haha.
2 years later, he busted out Alone in the Dark, 2005, starring Christian Slater and Tara Reid. It's got a 2.4 out of 10 on IMDb. And then we got him busting out Blood Rain in the same year.
Another video game movie.
2.9 out of 10.
Getting better.
Michael Madsen's in that movie as a vampire. I've seen a few of these video game adaptations he did.
Wait a second. He did a Far Cry. There's a Far Cry movie?
Yeah, so it keeps going. Like those were the big 3 he did at the beginning: House of the Dead, Alone in the Dark, Blood Rain. But then he goes on to do Postal, which is a video game, very controversial video game. He does Far Cry, and then he does Rampage, but it's not Rampage. That's confusing because it's like a crime movie. Rampage. It has nothing to do with the monsters. But you direct a bunch of video game movies and then you do a movie called Rampage. You gotta watch out.
And there is a movie called Rampage with The Rock.
I was just going to say, I just remembered that movie existed right now.
Yeah, and that's what makes it even weirder. There is a Rampage adaptation called Rampage. But yeah, I think Yui Ball is single-handedly responsible for wrecking decades of advancement in video game-based adaptations that we could have had. Like,
He is definitely the reason why people don't want to do video game adaptations.
yes, man. And I think there's a couple that are outside of his reach, but like they made a Hitman movie that seemed pretty similar to the kind of stuff that he was working with. Have you guys ever seen House of the Dead?
Yeah,
I don't think I
I
have.
have.
This movie's like unwatchable. You wouldn't believe the production value, Frank. Like,
I went to see it when it came out.
I'm not exaggerating. We could make a better movie with like $600 and a couple iPhones.
Let's do it.
Maybe we should.
We got
Maybe
$600 between us. We all have iPhones.
You know what we should do? Let's make a House of the Dead adaptation. That's what we're going to do.
Oh, snap.
We're going to go through here. We're going to adapt every single one of these video game films and make a good one.
Hey, we'll release it next Halloween. Boom.
I do have to shout out, though, there's something in here that I'd never seen before, and I saw it today. In 2011, Yui Ball put out Auschwitz.
What is that?
Controversial director Yui Ball depicts the harsh reality of the process inside one of the most infamous Nazi death camps by using brutally realistic imagery. There is no way that this movie is in good taste.
Bro, you think you're going to do better than Schindler's List? They already made Schindler's List.
Yeah, you can just stop. It's got 3.1 out of 10. I feel like we should see Elliot. I feel like that should happen. Oh, no, I'm just joking. Please no. I don't want to watch this.
Like, I guess if you really want to, you guys give me son-in-law.
Okay, I gotta say, I'm already feeling a little bit like my spirits are being lifted, like I'm out of this funk. Frank, can we go all the way there? Can we get into the goods? What are we thankful for, everyone? Because that's what's important
actually,
right now.
Before we move on,
Do you have
quick,
a dishonorable mention? Because I also have a dishonorable mention.
Guys, I'm barely emotionally prepared as it is.
Well, I just want to say that on the IMDb page for Auschwitz, the number 1 review is a 1-star review saying, "Stay away from this one, far away." Seriously.
Wow.
So,
Anyways, that says enough. I feel like
seems ripe for a CLE.
So so I just have one dishonorable mention because I also have an honorable mention, and I didn't know where this guy was going to fall until I thought of my honorable mention. But Dennis Dugan, and Dennis Dugan is a big part of mine, and I'm going to assume Danny's childhood. And I think David has seen a couple of these movies. I'm not sure how you feel about all of them. But,
Wow.
I mean, Dennis Dugan directed Problem Child, awesome movie, John Ritter, Happy Gilmore, one of the good Sandlers, as well as Big Daddy, Beverly Hills Ninja, Saving Silverman, banger, National Security. But the reason he's going on the dishonorable mention, those were enough to keep him off of the B's. But he's also responsible for The Benchwarmers, I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, Don't Mess with the Zohan, Grown Ups 1 and 2, and Jack and Jill. You know, just like Adam Sandler, they traveled together through time and they started turning out some crap.
wow.
Are you sure that this man actually exists? Like, this could be a pseudonym for Adam Sandler so that he collects an extra paycheck.
I'm pretty sure I saw a picture of him, but it also could be just like a real deep hoax, you know?
That's some deep state stuff, Frank.
I don't mess around with deep state stuff.
I'll
go down a rabbit hole and never come back.
I totally forgot about Problem Child until you just mentioned it, man.
Dude,
and I used to get down on that movie.
I loved Problem Child growing up, man. That movie's so
Don't know
funny.
if I've ever seen it, to be honest.
I highly recommend it, but honestly, I don't know where you're going to land anymore these days. You might hate it.
Well, I feel like it's too late. I'm going to be honest. I think you shouldn't go to it, Danny, until you have like a child or something, especially if your child's causing a ruckus.
Wait till
But you love John Ritter.
Yeah, I love John Ritter too, man.
You know what? It would make an awesome movie pairing, though. Problem Child and Auschwitz, Yui Ball.
Interesting.
That is a weird pairing. That's like
we'll have to wait for the
like
episode for your argument.
Can of sardines with like cabbage or something, you know?
Ooh, that's a weird pairing. I like that though.
I just wanted to give a shout out and a little bit of shame to Dennis Dugan for that really quick. Moving on to being thankful. In my number 3 spot.
Wait, sorry. Didn't Danny also have a runner-up?
No, he was just letting us know.
Dishonorable?
Yeah.
Did you?
No dishonorable mentions.
Oh, sorry. I misunderstood.
Yeah, he was giving us that little, the short, concise review. Oh my God. I almost just fell out of my chair trying not to cough into the microphone there.
That was good.
Yeah. My number 3 spot. And you know, this guy's, I was really conflicted on whether or not I wanted to put somebody this huge and big on my thankful list, but how do you not put this guy? So that's how he ended up in my number 3. Steven Spielberg, responsible for,
Everything?
all of it, you know, all of the big movies that you ever watched growing up as a kid. I've probably quoted so many of these goddamn things. Let's just run through the list of the big old bangers here. Jaws, Close Encounters of the First Time, all the Indiana Jones flicks, which they're not all great. What are you going to do? E.T., the kick the can part of the Twilight Zone movie. which is super fun, where those old people
Yeah.
are like little. That's a fun one. Hook, Jurassic Park, The Lost World, Schindler's List. And the list goes on and on and on, you know. Some really huge ones that I always forget are Steven Spielberg movies. Catch Me If You Can, which is a fantastic watch. I watched that movie like in 3 different classes, like through middle school and high school.
Teachers love that movie.
They love playing that movie in class. And honestly, it's a good way to spend a couple class periods. And let's not forget The Terminal and Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, man.
He's also doing a new adaptation of West Side Story, which, I mean, I cannot wait. Hopefully it does not suck. I love West Side Story.
He's not doing too much good stuff lately.
I know. I'm a little bit scared about it, honestly.
Yeah, BFG was apparently kind of a flop, which I meant to watch it, and I never did.
I didn't mean to watch it at all. I remember seeing the trailer, and I was like,
Skip.
Well,
He did Ready
Swipe.
Player One too, right?
Yeah, he
I
did.
mean, he directed Ready Player One. It's like 90% of the movie's made in a
all
computer.
CGI, so,
All right, so put the camera here and then focus on that part of the green screen.
Then we'll have Godzilla come in, and then we'll have Jaws over there.
I have a list of references.
Yeah, so Steven Spielberg, obviously, like, a bit problematic. He's also responsible for, like, the E.T. video game debacle and all that stuff. Well, when power corrupts, you know? Power corrupts. You get used to being on top, and you make decisions not based in integrity, but for profitability. And that's how you ended up on number 3. But Steven Spielberg, let's be honest, deserves a shout out for talking about movies we're thankful for.
He's like top 10 filmmakers.
Dude,
you know?
like, of all time, right? Like, undeniable. What are you
Okay,
gonna
here
do?
we go. Impromptu Steven Spielberg ranking episode, everybody. What's your favorite Steven Spielberg movie?
I mean, I can't even, you know.
Like, it's probably going to be like The Lost World for me.
Lost World,
Ooh.
Jurassic Park, and then
Dang.
Jaws. Man, I don't know.
That's
I just know my
honestly
top
tough.
3
There's a
really.
lot of bangers.
Dang. I was going to say number 1 is easily Saving Private Ryan, and then I thought
Oh,
about
yeah.
Indiana Jones.
Raiders of the Lost Ark is fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, I have to go Saving Private Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's super fair.
That's going to be a tough one when we get to the ranking.
Oh my God. It's also going to take us 16 years to watch all the movies.
We can do part 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe 5 on that one.
Yeah, he's got 57 directing credits. I mean, they're probably not all movies, to be fair, but it's going to be a lot of them. All right, Danny Boy, what do you got for us?
Hey. All right, well, we'll go with a man I'm genuinely very thankful for. A huge part of my inspiration to loving movies and to loving comedy, and to loving just a lot of things. He's part of our sense of humor as growing up together. It is Edgar Wright, my friends.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man.
Someone we have spoken about before on our Edgar Wright movie ranking. Check it out. Scroll down the episodes. He's also nicknamed E-Ball. I was seeing on IMDb, which I was really freaked out about. I really want to know that backstory.
I've never heard of this E-Ball.
Just to give a backstory, Edgar Howard Wright was born 18th of April 1974 in Poole, Dorset, England. He's an English director, screenwriter, producer, and he's known for his fast-paced and kinetic satirical genre films, which feature extensive utilization of expressive popular music, steady cam tracking shots, dolly zooms, and just amazing gags. Just gags all over the place.
Gag
Just
master.
killer. We're obviously, for
Which
those
is,
who haven't
Danny's
checked out the
nickname,
Edgar Wright
coincidentally.
movie ranking episode, we're looking at Shaun of the Dead, which he wrote and directed, Hot Fuzz, which he wrote and directed, The World's End, again, wrote and directed. He did the screenplay and directed Scott Pilgrim. He wrote Baby Driver and directed it, and he created Spaced and directed it. And yeah, I mean, the man's amazing. He doesn't have a huge catalog, but every part of it is great.
Quality. Thank you.
Yeah, there's
Mr.
nothing
Wright.
bad in here. Even his fake trailer segment for Grindhouse is hilarious. It's so funny. It's definitely worth like looking up and watching. It's really good.
He just knows how to tell the story with the camera. Like, he's really
Yeah.
good at being visual and hilarious. The man is just hilarious.
And his pacing is so snappy. It's so poppy.
I really regret that the MCU kicked out his version of Ant-Man. I think it really could have been amazing, you know?
But at the end of the day, you know, it's just like the MCU, all that stuff is put into such a harsh little box that ultimately, like, if he did follow through with it and made a bunch of concessions, imagine what a bummer that would have been, like watching Ant-Man and it's like, oh, this is kind of like Edgar Wright, but
He
Watching
probably would
a
have been number
defeated
9
Edgar Wright
on our
movie.
Edgar Wright movie rank.
yeah. It's like, yikes, this one is Edgar wrong.
Ha.
Where's that?
Whoop. There we go. Thank you. All right. So is it time to kick it to me?
Yeah, I'm thankful.
You're up,
boy.
sir.
Be thankful.
Okay. This is funny too, because I feel like I paired off Danny's earlier. Now I'm pairing off Frank's. Mine's George Lucas, everyone.
Hey.
I don't want to sing too much of anything.
David, beware the copyright, especially with Lucas.
Yeah. Like, let's be fair. It's so easy to poop all over George Lucas.
It's really easy.
Myself, I've pooped on him so many times over the years. But when I think about, if I'm being thankful, I have to be thankful for Star Wars, everyone. I have
We
to
all
be
should
thankful
be.
for Star Wars. Even if I'm not crazy about everything he's done himself, you gotta love the man. He put it together. He started the universe. And you know, he's got some other films too. he's got THX 1138. Solid sci-fi movie. It's lovely. I really like that one. Great visual styling. And he's also got American Graffiti, which is kind of a weird, like 50s. What is it? American Graffiti is a lot like, man, I am at a loss of words today. Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, it's like a teen drama. Right?
It's got that same, it's like a teen drama, but it's also like, you know, dropping in on this day.
A day in the life.
Exactly. And it's fun. You also see like a super young Harrison Ford.
How dashing.
Now, I know we're talking about, directors today, but also he helped write Indiana Jones, which is, another big one. Another big one for me. I love it. If you go check out his writing credits on IMDb, it's hilarious because he keeps getting credited for all these tiny little Star Wars things.
George Lucas is a great writer. You know, he's a very creative man. He definitely speaks from the back of his throat a little bit.
Speaks from the back of his throat. See, this is what I'm talking about. It's easy to make fun of George Lucas. It's so easy. It's incredible, but still, I have love for the man. Should he come back and helm Star Wars and take it over from Disney? No way. I mean, the
definitely
prequels
not.
are terrible.
We gave him 3 of those.
He did what he needed what we needed him to do.
Yeah, what you need to do is give it to Jon Favreau, everyone, because Jon Favreau has shown he knows what he's doing with Star Wars. That got into a weird tangent, but George Lucas, love the man. He's adorable. He's got that cute little facial hair, and
The
Frank,
facial hair that makes him look a little bit like an Ewok.
Yeah, right. The older he looks, the more he's gonna look like an Ewok.
Hey, and I mean, without George Lucas, who knows what Jason Freeberg's next movie would be about, you know? Wow, we're back to me already, coming around full circle. The number 2 spot for me is, I think is going to be like the most wholesome pick for me. It is probably the director that his movies really like they make me feel something like big time, and that's because his world building is so fantastic. The stories that he decides to tell are so great. And I mean, what other director could make Owen Wilson have a compelling performance? Wes Anderson, everybody.
Hey,
My goodness, like Wes Anderson came into my life when I was budding, and without him, I probably couldn't have been as pretentious as I am, you know? He like, God, my goodness. How many times did I watch the Darjeeling Limited when I was in high school? Just over and over and over again. Royal Tenenbaum's fantastic. Fantastic Mr. Fox, Moonrise Kingdom. He's also got the Grand Budapest Hotel. Let's not forget Hotel Chevalier, the little short that spins off from Darjeeling Limited. The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, Rushmore. I said the Royal Tenenbaums already, right?
Think
Isle
so.
of Dogs, which I haven't gotten around to seeing yet, which is crazy because it's Wes Anderson and
great.
it's about dogs.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous that I haven't watched that movie yet. And the upcoming film, what is it? The French Dispatch. I wrote it in
French
chicken
Dispatch,
scratch on my notes here. But I mean, just my goodness, man, I can't think of another director who pulls you into his world at the level that Wes Anderson does. And the worlds are filled of like all the problems of the real world, but also like this super unique charm. The Wes Anderson films feel like Wes Anderson films. They're you could cut 30 seconds out of any of his movies, be like, boom, that's a Wes Anderson movie.
It's interesting that like he's got this really unique voice, and like it's obviously you're talking about like there's almost like a Wes Anderson filter that you have to put over the camera, and you'll know that it's a Wes Anderson movie. But like even in his writing voice and how he directs some of his characters, there's like moments in each of his movies that I've noticed while we were preparing for our upcoming movie ranking, that like the characters in their dialogue dip into this very crass, deep part of human nature, and they can get very gross and really nasty or just really strange, but they're also still being portrayed like in this beautiful filter of like autumn. You know what I mean? I don't know how to really describe it right, but like sometimes his characters will like, you know, cheat or like be have infidelity or like just be like really bad people on
conniving.
screen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even Steve Zissou, or like it happens in the Royal Tenenbaums a couple times too. But there's always like a redeeming quality about some of them. And actually, this is the first time I had ever seen Rushmore. Was preparing for the ranking, and I loved it. I thought it was a really charming movie, especially
Rushmore's great.
First one. But it's definitely apparent in like Andy Schwartzman's character in that movie, where he just like turns into this like, Jason Schwartz.
Yeah.
Schwartzman, where like he just turns into like this conniving little creep, essentially. But it's really, and it all starts in like such a beautiful part. You know, I don't know. I feel like a lot of his characters do that in every one of his movies.
Oh yeah, they're not over idealized protagonists. They're all very flawed. If I may cut in, this is my number one, Frank. You gypped me. You gypped me one spot. I think that calls for a. All right, there we go. So talking about Wes Anderson. There's my sparkling water. Oh, I just did want to point out, Danny. Rushmore's not his first movie. It's actually Bottle Rocket, which I don't know if you guys. I don't know if you've seen it, Danny.
I have not seen Bottle Rocket. No.
Oh, it's fun. You know, it feels like a freshman outing, but it's fun. Yeah, Wes Anderson. I love the way you put it, Frank, because it's so much kind of what I wanted to say about it. His movies aren't wholesome, but they're heartfelt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're
it's
earnest.
It's not that cheesy wholesome that I hate, like Remember the Titans or something, like, oh, we're teammates and we're friends for life. No, it's like life sucks and there's no easy answer to these problems, but we're going to grow as people because of it. There's something beautiful about that.
Well, you're living up to Dark and Depressing Pena.
What can I say, man? I mean, most Wes Anderson movies don't really have a happy ending.
No.
Like most of the characters have gone through hardships. They've made it out successfully. That's the big deal. Like they've gotten through it.
Yeah.
But none of it is like picture perfect, which is ironic because all of his shots are picture perfect, which is the other great thing about Wes Anderson. It's like
very true.
All that perfect symmetrical framing, all that like dolly work, doing all these really complex shots. It's kind of like Stanley Kubrick. That's what I've always kind of felt from it.
Just all the colors, you know, he's got his own color palette.
Very
What
palette.
other director can you think of that has, I mean, I'm sure there's some, but it's very, very few that have their own distinct color palette.
Yeah, I mean, he's so stylized now in particular too. Like, well, that's the other thing I'm really thankful for him about. It's like you don't get movies like this. You know, this isn't something that's normally released, and somehow his movies still come out in theaters. I don't understand. He's like an anomaly.
Yeah.
But also,
he's not even a cult director anymore. You know, he is.
Oh no, yeah, he's not
mainstream. But it's just that he's got such great accolades. You know what I mean?
And you know what else? Along with the color, it's also the costuming. The costuming in every movie is always perfect. There's so much you learn about the characters from what they're wearing. And then, man, dude, his cast of actors, his little troupe of actors are hilarious.
Yeah, he's working with some good.
They carry
folks.
his voice for sure.
Yeah,
You know?
and I'm really excited because obviously there's those ones who return all the time. But in the new one that's coming out, we got Tilda Swinton.
Nice.
Angelica Huston returns. Timothy Chalamet, who's kind of like a popular younger
he's
actor
new.
guy.
He's new.
Yeah,
To
new to the team, right?
Yeah.
Elizabeth Moss is new. We got Bill Murray, Saoirse Ronan, and I'm pretty sure Saoirse Ronan and Timothy Chalamet are both in Lady Bird together. I don't know if
yeah.
you guys have
That's
seen
a great movie. Yeah.
I love that movie. So sad. Leah Sado, Edward Norton, Willem Dafoe, Christoph Waltz, Adrian Brody,
Christoph Waltz.
Owen Wilson, Jason Schwartzman, Liev Schreiber. Like, this next movie is going to be ridiculous, guys.
Man.
I'm so
Oh my
excited.
God.
And I'm so
cannot wait.
thankful.
Yeah, for reals. Somehow this guy, I feel like he somehow manages the perfect mix of reality and fantasy. You know what I mean? Everything's kind of grounded in the real world, but it's Wes Anderson's real world, and the rules are just a little bit different. There's a little bit more magic.
I really enjoy. I'm thankful for him in that you get a little bit of a refresher going through his catalog when you get to like his animation. This guy is great at directing animation, like his stop motion claymation. The Fantastic Mr. Fox is an amazing family movie.
Yeah.
Like it's one that even if you're not with your family, you can just watch and have a chuckle too, you know? But like Isle of Dogs, I saw that one in theaters, and the stylization in that movie is amazing.
I love Isle of Dogs.
It's got its own color palette too, and it's actually quite different from more than most Wes Anderson movies for sure. But it's a different venture, but he tests himself. That's what makes a great director.
Yeah. And nothing but bangers. There's not a single bad movie on this list. They're all great. It's going to be a tough ranking episode.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, it really is.
But yeah, thank
Well
you,
done,
Wes
both of
Anderson. Thank you very much.
So does that pop over to me then?
Yeah,
Yes.
hit us with your number 2 there, Danny boy.
Well, I'm glad we are on the subject of talking about auteurs and people with their own voice
Tools.
who constantly test themselves. I'm sure. I'm not Frank. I'm not sure if you'll be on the same page with this one. But my next one is one that I'm more thankful for, and he is amazing. It is Hayao Miyazaki
Oh, wow.
of Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, man.
I'm familiar with the Ghibli stuff, and not really my cup of tea, so I'll just be here hanging out, guys. Let me know if you need anything.
Yeah, let me just
fair.
hang out over here for a little bit.
That's fair. That happens. That happens. I mean, I'm still working on getting Raven into Studio Ghibli. We're she's new to anime, so we're dipping our feet in accessible stuff.
She's new to the anime.
Yeah, to anime.
What have you shown her so far?
Oh, we've watched some Attack on Titan. We watched Parasite. She's watched Death Note on her own. Yeah, so she's really into weird anime. Like, so we're kind of. She told me, I feel like it's too cutesy for me, and I'm like, I understand. It is. Pretty cutesy.
Oh, so she's not down for the cutesy stuff.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, I'm the
I don't
same
like
way.
slice
Give me
of life
the
stuff much
give me the
either.
dark, weird stuff. That's what
If
I'm
I
into.
could make a suggestion, Elfin Lead.
Oh, we watched it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say the first off, that's gonna be good. And then, have you ever seen Paranoia Agent?
I have heard of Paranoia Agent. We should watch that.
Might want to check it out. But anyway,
We also love One Punch Man. We finished all of One Punch Man.
I haven't seen One Punch Man still.
Oh,
David, what's
that's a
that
good one.
Korean anime with that kid on the rollerblades with the golden bat?
That's Paranoia Agent.
That's Paranoia
my
Agent?
homie.
That's dope. David showed me
All right,
that
I'm
years
gonna
and
have
years
to watch
ago,
that.
and I
I'm gonna
put
have to
it
watch
right
that.
in.
We also watched a little bit of Berserk. I think I made it through Berserk all the way too. That's a good one. Either way, we're back at Hayao Miyazaki. And for those who are not familiar with Hayao Miyazaki, he is one of
nice.
Japan's greatest animation directors. Miyazaki-san is on another level. He's
Most honorable.
essentially like if Charles Schultz had made feature-length, amazing, beautiful animation in Japan. It's like it's got that same kind of Charlie Brown feeling for a lot of things, but he does do darker things. You
It's
know,
interesting.
he does do a lot of his movies do have cutesy slice of life parts to them, but a lot of them have some darker themes, and a lot of them are based off of one of them is based off of a manga, and a lot of other ones are based off of like Japanese legends and stuff. So he's got like entertaining plots. He's got compelling characters. The animation is next level. Like, it's unlike other anime that you've ever seen. Like the food animation in particular is one that gets like, it's really weird to think about that, but it does look so appetizing, and it's something that has influenced like whole generations of animators, to say. But he also works with the Walt Disney Company because they do like the Americanization of things like that, and they get good cast actors in.
The dubs are always solid. Like
the dubs are amazing.
Yeah, I usually watch the dubs. Actually, a lot of times I'll stick with the Japanese. On some things I won't, but for Miyazaki, for some reason I always go dub. I never listen to the Japanese.
You don't have to worry about the dubs for Miyazaki because they're always quality. Yeah. And I mean, some of the absolute bangers. He's got like over 20 director credits.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of ones. Yeah,
but I mean, like my favorites for sure are obviously Spirited Away, 2001, and he's written and directed all of these. And in some of them, he's storyboarded and actually did the initial art for it too. So Spirited Away, Kiki's Delivery Service, Princess Mononoke, which is a nice brutal one. Frankie, you should watch Princess Mononoke. I think you would love that one.
We'll see.
Howl's Moving Castle, My Neighbor Totoro, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, Castle in the Sky, and Ponyo. And they're all just bangers, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and you're right, man. They split up into like if you want something cutesy, you can watch Ponyo or Kiki's
Totoro.
Delivery Service. Yeah, and if you want something more serious, yeah, Princess Mononoke is pretty sweet.
Frank, you'd love Spirited Away. Like that is it's just a beautiful film, but it's like more about like the afterlife and like the ghost world and stuff like that. And
I do really like cool. The ghost world.
Yeah, and Princess Mononoke is like I think it's a Japanese legend, but it's like this brutal tale. Like it's like essentially like a spirit of the wilderness is like fighting against like people's encroachment onto the wilderness and stuff. And there's some blood. It's pretty good.
It's very like Inuyasha.
Definitely.
but not
without the
200 episodes. Yeah. It's not 200 episodes long.
It's succinct.
I like Kiki's Delivery Service is my favorite
love
one.
It.
It's such a cute little movie, but I love that one.
Isn't that where you got Buyo from? Wait,
no, Buyo's actually from Inuyasha.
Oh, from Inuyasha. That's right.
Yeah, Buyo's Kagome's cat.
But I also love Howl's Moving Castle. Howl's Moving Castle is great, and Castle in the Sky is also really good too.
Yeah, these are all awesome. I mean, I feel like these are kind of like you know what I mean? Like Frank's not missing out on Miyazaki. He just doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Which is fair. It's the same reason why I'm not going to watch A House of 1,000 Corpses. It's just not.
But Frank, if you do, just have some time laying around, I would highly suggest some Spirited Away or Princess Mononoke because it is fantastic.
Yeah, those wouldn't be bad ones to check out if you were going to check some of them out.
Yeah, I'll take those suggestions. I will take them earnestly.
Or maybe even Howl's Moving Castle. It's got a lot of really cool like machinery kind of stuff going on, like steampunk.
Totally, almost steampunk.
Yeah. All right, well, let's what's more logical to follow up Miyazaki? But John Carpenter, everyone. That's my number 2.
I knew you were going to take him.
Nice.
I knew you were going to take him.
My number 1, I guess. No, still my number 2.
That's still your number 2.
Wes Anderson's still my number 1. I mean, with Wes Anderson, it's just like I don't get excited for anyone coming out with a movie like I do Wes Anderson. It's like an event.
Yeah.
John Carpenter, the man, the myth, the legend. He's got ups and downs. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. He's got the ups, he's got the downs. And for his downs, they're real down, let's be honest. But when they're at the peak, they're really good. And some of my favorite movies ever. So, in particular, sorry, let me just get a little bit of water here. We're going to start from the bottom here, everyone. At least the ones that I really know. I mean, there's stuff like Assault on Precinct 13. I still haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that.
You know Halloween, what? Assault on Precinct 13 is a solid watch. There's nothing like super, like it's very surface level. Dope movie. Fun watch.
I'm down. It's just something that I've been looking for a copy of for a long time. And the John Carpenter movies, I mean, you see the same ones. Some of the oddballs are kind of hard to find, but one day. Let me see here. Oh yeah, but we got the man on the original Halloween, like the proto slasher, the original slasher movie, and the original Halloween's fantastic. We got The Fog in 1980. I wasn't crazy about this one, but I have my issues with it, but still a fun time. Escape from New York, some Snake Plissken in 81, and then boom, the next year you got The Thing in 82, just a straight up classic. Then you get Christine. We got Big Trouble in Little China a few years later, and then where it used to be my cutoff was 1988. They Live, because after that there's some pretty bad ones, but I love They Live.
They Live is a weird one, Stu.
And that one's bizarre for sure. But now, after watching In the Mouth of Madness, 1995, I found out that bar stretches a little bit further, man. In the Mouth of Madness is so dope. You guys would both love it.
I've been wanting to watch it.
I have seen Into the Mouth of Madness, and that is a fantastic film, David. I agree 100%.
Oh, okay. Right on. I didn't know you did. I was at Media Exchange a while back, and I was just perusing the Blu-rays, as I do, and they had a Blu-ray copy of it, and I was like, I've never seen this before. And I just instantly bought it. I was like, I need to go. Like, I've never seen a copy of In the Mouth of Madness on a shelf. It was just shocking to me. But Danny, you must, man.
I've been dying to. Yeah, I'm gonna check it out to see if it's on any streaming services because I love Sam Neill. I love John Carpenter, and I've actually seen spoiler-free reviews of it, and I've just been like, "Damn, this sounds great. This sounds like what I want to watch."
You hop in there, man. 96, the very next year, we get Escape from LA, which is bad.
Oof.
That one's awful. And then you got Vampires in 98. Oh, that movie's so bad. I watched that just a few years ago. Oh, and then you have Ghosts of Mars. Ugh.
Oh, that movie's so terrible.
And then in 2010, you have The Ward. Oh, gosh, with everyone's favorite actress right now. Yeah.
I don't remember that one.
Amber Heard stars in The Ward.
Yikes, she's the worst. We do not lift abusers' voices here.
Yeah, right. She's awful. And you know what? Her performance in this movie is so bad. Everything about the movie's bad. But I gotta say, he's had the ups, he's had the downs. I'm always there for you, John Carpenter. I love your movies. I like that you stuck in there. He was feeling down from the critical reception of The Thing. We've talked about this. It could have caused a man to just turn away, but then we wouldn't have been blessed with these beautiful movies. So thank you, John Carpenter. And thank you, America.
That was
solid sign off, David.
Wow.
Thank you.
So Frank, is that your? Did we already do your number one?
No, Frank has
my number two
one.
was
His
David's
number
number
one.
one. Yeah. So my number one spot. It's actually a man we've been talking about a little bit tonight already. It's fun how many times he's popped up. Quentin Tarantino. From if you'll recognize our Quentin Tarantino movie ranking.
There's so many shameless plugs in this episode.
Yeah. We might as well call it T3B3 shameless plugs.
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino has directed some of my all-time favorite movies. Some of the movies that I've rewatched the most in my life, movies I can just watch over and over and over again, and they don't get beaten to death. Another super awesome benefit of having Quentin Tarantino as being a person that exists out here in the universe is how ridiculous of a human being he is. Not only do I love his films, but God, do I love watching a cringy Quentin Tarantino interview, or just seeing seeing him try to attack a paparazzo.
He's so weird.
He's so weird. He's such a weird dude. And that's something I just love about him. That's why he gets my number one spot. I love him both in front of the camera, behind the camera, and then offset when he's just out into the world being the type of human being that Quentin Tarantino is.
He's got so many quirks too,
For real.
He's a huge Star Trek fan, and he's remember we were talking about that he's such a huge fan of he was such a huge fan of John Travolta that he was scared to meet him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's really into feet.
Very into feet. Thinks there's a part of him that thinks he's black, or at least really wants to be. He really wants to be.
That's the funniest part, I think. Those are the most cringy scenes for me, man.
Yeah. He's that part of Quentin Tarantino's personality is the little white kid who like thinks he's black. You know what I mean? But he just never grew out of that. I'm not going to go through and list all his movies because I mean we did that and ranked them, and honestly, like, if you aren't familiar with Quentin Tarantino's movies, Google him, write all those movies down, and then get to watch an idiot because you're missing out. Those are some solid films. Another like world builder, you know what I mean? Quentin Tarantino has his own rules in this universe. They're all connected. You know, you get your Red Apple cigarettes going through everything, showing you they're all in the same universe.
You got that ultra violence.
The Quentin Tarantino expanded universe. But just thank you, Quentin Tarantino, for being you. Your friends suck, as we've talked about.
Except Edgar Wright.
Yeah, except Edgar Wright. Yeah, that's a funny connection. That's a really weird connection for sure.
And they don't work together. They should do something together. That would be crazy.
Oh,
That would be a really interesting project. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be really interested to see what that looks like. But just, yeah, man, like there's some movies obviously that I don't like as much as the others, but they're still really good movies. Like,
That's very true.
yeah, man, I just don't know, man. The very formative movies for me, especially like the earlier stuff, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction. Like, who hasn't seen those movies? Very quotable stuff.
9-year-old girls.
Yeah, 9-year-old girls. Probably a lot of 9-year-old girls who haven't seen it. People.
And what's better is that he's written these movies too, not just directed them.
Yeah, they're all Quentin Tarantino movies. He did all the stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Hope we get another one. We'll see.
Oops. We'll see.
I like it. I like it, Frank. Moving on in terms of being a thankful, we are the thankful threesome here today. I have to go with my most thankful director. That's going to be old Ridley Scott.
Ooh, Scott's Tots.
Scott's Tots. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Make that thing puck out of your chest. I'm talking about Ridley Scott. For those who are not familiar, I mean, the man has done so much, just so many different movies. He is, and which that's a lot of what I like about him is that he can put himself in the box, and sometimes he is put in the box by the studio execs, but he also just goes out on a limb on his own and just does these one-off movies that are just incredible. I mean, case in point, like freaking Gladiator. Well, those who aren't familiar, he's done Gladiator, he's done Black Hawk Down, he's done Kingdom of Heaven, he's done obviously Alien, like a quintessential movie that probably created an entire genre of horror. Prometheus, he's done Alien Covenant, he's doing another prequel, he's done Legend. I don't know if you guys have seen Legend. You guys have
I've seen Legend. Yeah.
It's
Which one's Legend?
Yeah.
Tim Curry and Tom Cruise. It's super strange. Tim Curry's in this crazy devil suit. It's amazing. He's done he executive produced and directed 2 episodes along with his son of the show I was raving about recently called Raised by Wolves for HBO Max. Super hard sci-fi, really great. But I mean, the man is like,
Blade Runner, man, you missed
Blade Runner. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's, again, creating a genre on his own, like of film. Like that's dystopian sci-fi at its max. You know what I mean? He has always been fascinated with like androids. Every one of his stories in sci-fi kind of comes down to artificial intelligence. And I mean, he's just incredible. He's got a perfectly visual eye that kind of helps him tell his stories. But even like his other movies that aren't in sci-fi, like Black Hawk Down, is fun and it's still worth a watch. It's great to watch every day. It's like a pumping thriller. Like, yeah, it just keeps going. Kingdom of Heaven is also an amazing war movie too.
That's another movie I've watched in a few high school classes for sure.
Yeah.
You guys had very different high school classes than I did.
They probably wouldn't let me watch Gladiator in high school, but
yeah, I think
strangely
Gladiator's
enough,
a no-go.
I think I did watch Gladiator in high school.
that's super strange because it's pretty X-rated. But
is it really though?
no, I guess it's like a R. It's just an R movie, but
I don't know. Those 2 giraffes are gay. I don't see the state of Texas being cool with gay giraffes in the classroom.
That's true. Well, you know what's funny? You're talking about all these one-off movies, and he's working on Gladiator 2 right now.
yeah, that is weird. I gotta say, I'm not particularly stoked about that.
Yeah.
He's also doing another Alien, which I was not stoked about. Alien Covenant, even though it was decent, it was just an Alien rehash again.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about the Alien movies. In a weird way, it's like Star Wars. It's like, man, you guys got the whole universe. You can't do a second story.
It's just the same movie.
We tells you to blow up this Death Star, man.
Exactly. And Prometheus like kind of looked like it was gonna be a different story, and it kind of ends up being the same thing, but it's good. It's still different than having like an Alien. What was the last one? I can't even remember. As Resurrection. It's
Oh yeah.
Whoo.
Well, the android stuff worked so nice in those Prometheus movies.
Oh yeah.
But then for some reason they just kept having to do the same story. They were like, wait a second. If these guys don't find a chamber of eggs and take their helmets off, I don't know what I'm going to do after this scene.
I was told that this was a Ridley Scott movie. To that point in Alien Covenant, it does focus more on the androids, and then the ending story is just like, oh, this is going to be more about the androids. But Raised by Wolves is awesome. I would say I cannot praise that enough. So I am excited to see what he does. I just got to say, though, he's just a formative part about... I am a huge sci-fi horror nerd. Like, it is some of my favorite... It's like my favorite genre of horror is like sci-fi horror, and like... which also leads to like some of my other tastes in movies and stuff. Like, which would probably be like my honorable mentions also, which would be like Alex Garland. Total honorable mention, even though he's not done much directing. What he has directed, I do love.
Yeah.
And then just to get my other honorable mentions out of the way, because I love Ridley Scott, going off of that. But honorable mentions, I had Alex Garland, I had Ari Aster. I was gonna put him on there because I do love everything he's done, but he doesn't have enough for me to consider him being on there right now.
Oh
Same.
yeah.
Yep, and same with Robert Eggers. He's also going to be on there. Everything
That's
he
funny.
does is great.
I was like thinking of an honorable mention for Jordan Peele in the same light. Like,
That's
I love
my
his stuff,
honorable
but-
mention too, David.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm
there's
excited
just
to see
not
what he's
quite
going to
enough
do.
yet.
Yeah.
There's just not enough. I feel like they got to make it over the 4 movie, maybe 5 movie mark for this list at least.
Yeah, yeah.
That being said, I did have Mike Flanagan also up here because I don't love everything he does, but he does have his own voice and he's unique, and he's definitely like on the pioneering vanguard of like horror. He's testing the limits of horror for sure. So, with that, does that wrap up our T3B3?
That's it for the T3B3, I suppose.
I guess so. Yikes. Okay.
Wow.
It's there. We've been so thankful today. How exciting! How thankful we've been.
I'm guessing
glad.
for the rest of November we're going to be the Thankful Threesome.
I guess so. Technically,
say
wouldn't it be
that.
the Thingsful threesome? We're really messing up the branding here. That's the issue. We already made one November gag, and now we've abandoned it. But what are you gonna do? That's life, everyone. Sometimes you gotta abandon the plan.
True.
It's speaking of abandoning the plan, I think it's time for Character Limit Extended. The movie review segment where every word is expanded upon.
What's that cute little that thing you say, Frank?
Welcome to Character Limit Extended, the movie review segment where we talk a little bit more about the movie we talked a little bit about a week ago.
There we go.
That's nice.
That's what it is.
It's something like that.
Again,
I think the first time I did it, I was like, I'll write that down. It's never been written down.
Wow, this is the production value you guys are sticking around for. What's the movie we're talking about? The Campaign.
The Campaign.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guys, I love this movie. I love it with my whole heart and soul.
Yeah, it really is a fun watch. Like really fun. Like it is just like a laugh fest.
And just so perfect for right now. You know what I mean? Like when I watched it, it was probably like a day or two before Election Day, and I was just like, this was just what I needed. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy because it helps you like reflect on like what politics were like back when that movie came out, and it's not that far away, but it's still like, man, this is all still so tame in comparison to like what's going on nowadays.
Yeah, seriously.
Other than, sex tapes involving the other person's wife.
That also was hilarious.
That's the line that probably hasn't been crossed yet. But who knows what 2024 has in store?
Yeah, and I don't think I've ever heard of like a politician trying to get to another politician's son to call him dad. I don't think I've ever seen that in the news.
that.
But
That's
that's
good stuff.
hilarious.
Or when they shake hands right at the beginning of the debate and he's like trying to get him to touch his wiener.
yeah, when they're trying to trash talk. Your breath smells like butt toots.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I really like this movie too. I think it's really, really funny. I think it's kind of standard for 2000. I don't think it's like extraordinary or anything. I mean, I wouldn't say it's funnier than like Step Brothers or like Anchorman. It's a colleague among those movies and a similar kind of humor. But I think it really excels and it's really funny. The political humor is so funny. The only thing that's depressing is that it's just so transparent. It's like, hey, we're all laughing about what's going on here, but this is what actually happens.
Yeah, this
Like,
is
yeah,
real.
like the Koch brothers are buying out candidates.
Yeah. Well, one of them's dead now, but they still
Yeah,
are.
I guess so. But it's just like that part's a little depressing. It takes me out of the movie a little bit, and then it's like, oh, you know, this populist candidate rises up, and then everyone, you know, doesn't vote for him. It's like that's how it does go. We've seen that, and then it's like, oh, at the end of the day, the other guy's going to step down. It's like, no, this isn't how politics works.
That's not what's happening right now.
That dude
No,
be cashing
no.
that check, and he wouldn't think twice about it. There would be no question about his motives.
And you know what's kind of funny? Like you're kind of touching upon it, David. It's like there's a part where they're getting Marty Huggins kind of like dressed up to be like the right candidate, and they have like Dylan McDermott or whatever his name is, like being the campaign manager, and they're like manning up Marty Huggins' life. And as soon as he gets home, like they're getting rid of his pugs, and they give him like 2 German shepherds that have like handkerchiefs or whatever around their necks. He's like, "This is Champ and this is Scout. They have handkerchiefs. They don't leave." And he's like, "Sit." And then it's funny because Joe Biden has 2 dogs that are named like Champ and Scout.
Oh,
They're
really?
German shepherds.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so funny. I'll have to check this out. You know, there's another line in that movie where Will Ferrell talks about like going out and shooting somebody in the street to see if it'll raise his numbers. Oh. And I was like, wow, this is not like this is so weird. It's like a
Is
weird
it art
prediction.
imitating life, or is it life imitating art?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that like Marty shoots him with a crossbow, right? Is it a crossbow or a gun? It's I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
that
it's
was
Shoots with a
crossbow.
gun.
The Dick Cheney thing, he like shoots him in the leg.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, you know, that joke in particular, because most of it, I would say it relates to any time, but that joke seemed straight up like the Dick Cheney joke, like, oh, a hunting accident occurred. And I was like, wow, okay. But
Except this
yeah,
is going to
satire's
be
sharp,
like,
man. Satire sharp.
yeah, that's
That
going to
part-
be another situation that is like not as crazy as real life because Dick Cheney shot that dude in the face,
face, yeah.
and then that
Yeah.
dude apologized to Dick Cheney for putting him through all that heartache. You know, that's
Sorry for-
power.
Sorry for putting my face in front of your gun, man. My bad.
And
Sorry, Biden's dog's name is Major.
maybe
Wow.
I'm
He's
sorry.
a German Shepherd. No, but that's like, it's so spot on, man. My dog's name, Freedom.
It was just that movie is so spot on, man. It's just it's amazing. Yeah, just I love the way you edited it, David. It's like because at the end of the CLE, like is the whole Rainbow Land skit, and the Rainbow Land skit is one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Yeah, that's like quintessential stupid, angry American. You know what I mean? I'm uninformed, but I heard words that scare me, and that makes me pissed off.
It is so accurate. It is so scarily accurate how on it that part of that movie is. It's like all you have to do is allude to communism. People are like, I'm not going to live in this socialist country.
Sounds like he wants everyone to live in Rainbow Land. Rainbow Land's not real. It's a made-up place. I wrote it in 3rd grade.
And it's funny because all this stuff comes before the 2016 election. Which, like, if you were to like watch this movie right after the 2016 election, it's like, whoa, some of this is like really weird. But
And Cam Brady's the Democratic candidate, which is really funny.
That's funny too. Yeah, I got a kick out of that. Really got a big kick out of that.
I love Cam Brady's whole confessional about like how he doesn't even really work. Like he doesn't know any of his constituents. He's just playing like Candy Crush and like Facebooking old exes the whole time he's in Congress. I love that because I assume that's what's happening with a lot of congressmen.
I'm sure that's what Hunter Biden's going to be doing. Ayo.
What a time we live in.
How crazy.
Oh, politics. How fun.
Well, that feels like it wraps up Character Limit Extended. Be sure to check out Character Limit Exceeded of the campaign. We just put it out last week.
Yeah, go look. It's still fresh. Still good to go.
And that sounds like it leads us on to... Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, how interesting.
Oh, guys, today it's my that's interesting. I feel like I may have done one before, but I'm still new to this.
You've done multiple, and every time you do one, you say this.
Well, here's where we are. Fellas, we know what time it is. It is November. It is the second week of November now, which is just crazy to me. We have surpassed election week. Election week was a time for those who are not in America and listening somehow. Thanks for tuning in, but also, yikes. This was a crazy week. So let's just go in and dip in on this story I got from the Washington Post to give it a little bit of context. Essentially, our sitting president is sowing a bunch of misinformed and unsubstantiated claims that there was widespread voter fraud, and that's why he is losing. So he's been, quote unquote, voter fraud, which there is no evidence. He has thrown up something like 12 lawsuits in different states, and I think 11 have been shot down so far, and only reason the other one hasn't been shot down is because it hasn't made it to court yet. So one of them was
and it's awesome because a lot of the claims are like, I wasn't in the room, and when I wasn't in the room, somebody could have done something.
Exactly.
Somebody who I didn't see might have like been responsible for an event that I don't know took place.
Yeah, let's just say that like all of the quote unquote evidence that has been presented is like 99% affidavits. That means that these are just signed statements from people. It's signed hearsay. So to give this article a little bit of context, apparently in Pennsylvania, a postal worker was willing to go on record and say that his postal master told him to mark ballots a day or two before Election Day after having received them after Election Day, which would obviously mean that it was incorrect and an invalid ballot. Now, let's just go ahead and dip right into this here article. From the Washington Post, postal worker recanted allegations of ballot tampering, officials say. Which is a great start. A Pennsylvania postal worker whose claims have been cited by top Republicans as potential evidence of widespread voting irregularities admitted to U.S. Postal Service investigators that he fabricated the allegations. According to the three officials briefed on the investigation and a statement from a House Congressional Committee, Richard Hopkins, the postal worker, claims that a postmaster in Erie, Pennsylvania, a all-blue county, might I add, that voted overwhelmingly by mail-in ballot.
Seems sus.
Pretty sus. Instructed postal workers to backdate ballots mailed after Election Day was cited by Senator Lindsey O. Graham, Republican of South Carolina.
Is his middle name really O?
Yeah. Lindsey O. Graham.
I'm Lindsey O. Graham.
Lady G, as he's known in Washington. In a letter...
and coincidentally on Epstein's Island.
Oh. In a letter to the Justice Department calling for a federal investigation, Attorney General William P. Barr, or Bill Barr, or AKA the president's little cuck, subsequently authorized federal prosecutors to open probes into credible allegations of voting irregularities and fraud, a reversal of long-standing Justice Department policy. But on Monday, as of yesterday, Hopkins, 32, told investigators from the U.S. Postal Service's Office of Inspector General that the allegations were not true, and he signed an affidavit recanting his claims, according to officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity to describe an ongoing investigation. Democrats on the House Oversight Committee tweeted late Tuesday that the, quote, whistleblower completely recanted, quote.
Wow.
Hopkins did not respond to messages from the Washington Post, seeking comment through his social media accounts, family members, and phone messages earlier this week. But in a YouTube video he posted Tuesday night, he denied recanting. I'm here to say I did not recant my statements. That did not happen.
He's
What is
recanting
going
his
on?
recantment.
Wait, he did not recant, so it did happen?
Yeah.
Or he's saying it didn't happen, my recanting.
he is in like a third stage of opposite day that I cannot compute right now.
It's like,
well, gentlemen. Oh, go ahead, David.
I was just going to say, I can't lie under oath, but I can lie on YouTube.
Yeah, right. Yeah, legit. I don't know, guys. It seems to me like the deep state got to this this red-blooded patriot and is scaring him from telling the truth, keeping the one true president. And no, I can't even finish that joke. It's too disgusting.
Yeah, for anyone listening, like obviously we're being very sarcastic. Like this man was obviously lying and was scared of being accused of perjury, having to take the stand.
I don't know. I'm feeling maybe some sort of Godfather style mafioso, like a Luca Brasi character, maybe even a Joe Pesci showing up on behalf of the Democratic Party.
Funny
I'm here
how.
for Joe Biden. You're gonna recant. You hear me?
Like Joe Pesci in Casino. I hope
Exactly.
I hope so. So yeah, gentlemen. I mean, as of now, the situation that we are in is still that most of the world, even beyond America, has accepted that Biden will be the next president. And
This is small. There's like a group of like 45 people who haven't accepted that he's going to be the president.
and that is all of the GOP Senate. That is exactly who that is.
I guess it's more because it's like some brainwashed Trump supporters too.
That too, yeah. I guess I would say dang near 60 million Americans.
Wow. No, they can't all be. I know there's some Trump voters who are like, oh, we lost.
Yeah. Okay, maybe like 40 million out of the 80 million that voted for him.
Is it that much? That's scary.
Dude, like 71 million voted for Trump.
How can you not see how sore of a loser Donald Trump's being right now?
Like, this is an embarrassment.
Like, you understand that if he won, there'd be no discussion of voter fraud from the Trump camp.
Well, and that's the beat to the logic is like, okay, there's also a Senate race on this general ticket, and a lot of the Republicans won the Senate. So it's like,
Yeah.
were the Democrats, quote unquote, bad at cheating that we would let them lose that?
No, they
Or-
were concentrating so hard on cheating for for stealing Trump's God-given right to be president. You know what I mean? That they forgot to rig the Senate races too.
And that's the thing. If they're questioning all the results, then they would also be questioning the Republican Senate winning tickets in states. You know what I mean?
Well, it's, it boils down to that whole, like, them shouting in Nevada to, like, count the vote, and then them shouting in Pennsylvania to stop the count.
Stop the vote, yeah.
It's like, it doesn't even matter. You're just going to say whatever is most convenient for your lineup here.
I mean, we're just at the point where I thoroughly believe he will not have a concession speech. And I'll eat my words if he does. That would be great. Because that would just be that, because he knows that'll spawn so many GIFs and so many memes, and it's just going to be.
He's going to have a concession speech in the formal version of that word. Like, there will be a speech, but
there will be no
contents of it
conceding.
will not be a concession whatsoever.
Yeah, he will concede nothing.
Yeah, nothing will be conceded. Can I just take a second to brag about how spot on I was? I think it was like, what was it? Like Tuesday night. I was like, Joe Biden's got this.
You did. You were very confident.
The votes are going to come in like Friday, Saturday. It's good. It's in the bag.
I was less confident the entire week. I was terrified.
I was still worried the whole week, but I feel like if you just, boldly state your opinion, then you can at least hide behind it a little bit. The fear.
So says our president.
Former president. Well, no, he's currently our president.
2 more months.
This is the closest to like bragging, I guess, I've gotten. Because I remember after the 2016 election, the memes were just intense.
Oh, yeah.
All the trash talking. Part of me really wants to get in there and talk trash, but then part of me is like, you know what? Let's turn the other cheek, y'all. Let's turn the other cheek. I'll make fun of the Trump people for other reasons. There's plenty to choose from.
And I'm sure they'll give us more ammo, you know? There's still time. We'll get more reasons.
Well, and
It
that's
never
the thing is,
stops.
like, even if you try and make fun of them right now, it's not even phasing them. That's the thing is, like, when that happened in 2016, I say we, but it's like the majority of the left was like of an assumed intelligence where they could assume they were being made fun of and they know why. But the Trump supporters probably wouldn't know why they're being made fun of and would not accept anything.
Wow. I'm not sure what the joke is here, but I don't like it.
Good stuff, man. How delightful, you know?
Wow, Danny,
and it's not
that
like
was
Biden's the answer to all our problems, you know what I mean? But it's like, God, at least we don't have this idiot like running things right now, or we won't.
Step in the right direction.
Yeah. Other than the deportations.
Like, I don't think Biden's going to incite nearly as much violence.
I mean, he voted for the war in Iraq.
He did.
No,
But let's be honest.
like violence here where we
Inwards.
live.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Biden's not going to live to his second term.
I don't know, y'all. I mean, I would have thought COVID would have got Trump for sure. If there's anyone who's going to get the COVID and die, it's going to be the guy hitting 3 Big Macs and 2 Filet-O-Fishes every day.
There's
Another
actually
thing
a
that makes me
chemical
think-
compound in McDonald's that helps you fight COVID.
I mean, let me just say this, though. When the White House was being frantic this week while they were having like their moves for like these fake lawsuits and stuff, amid all of that, the Trump, like the main head of staff, Mark Meadows, is diagnosed with COVID, and Ben Carson got COVID, and they were all in the White House. So what if Trump just hasn't shown his face because he got COVID again?
Oh, that'd be amazing. And poor sleepy Ben Carson. That guy's lethargic enough, COVID. Take it easy on him.
He's an idiot, man.
How lovely.
Well, let's get out of politics before we
Yep.
lose what little fans we have left. It's time for Peeps and Predicts. You know what show it is. It's the show / segment, really, where we take 2 real or fictional people and we put them against each other in hypothetical scenarios, and we argue about it.
Yeah, how exciting. We know this is the reason all of you came and sat through however long it's been now.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell from the recording because, I mean, we just wasted 20 or 30 minutes before we actually started talking. Who knows?
It happens every time. Okay, so our Peeps for today, we have Annabelle versus Valak.
Oh, wow. That's been in the jar for a little while.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar, Annabelle is the doll from the film Annabelle and The Conjuring, and Valak is the protagonist of The Conjuring 2. It's actually played by Patrick Wilson, who we also refer to as Night Owl. Okay, so what's their predicament? What about Valak versus Annabelle? Ooh, the suspense. Who's more likely to be in a Conjuring spin-off movie?
Well,
That's a
No, I'm
tough
just
one.
No, who could grow a more commanding beard?
I would
don't know.
have to give this to the demon.
I would guess, but can demons even grow facial hair? I guess maybe.
if they're like half goat, maybe.
The mustache, the devil usually has a rockin' mustache. Not
I
all
would
the time, but
imagine
lot of
if a
stuff.
demon could take the form of like an over-the-top spooky nun, that they could
Yeah.
toss a beard on if they wanted to, you know?
And let's be honest, demon makes more sense than doll any day of the week.
Yeah, you
'cause
would
they
have
can't grow
to
hair.
make the beard for the doll. And that doll, you're not supposed to touch it. She's sitting behind glass.
But this is specifically who could grow a more commanding beard.
True, not who could wear one.
Yeah, not who could be fitted.
If
And rock.
Annabelle grew a beard, it would be made out of like some weird kind of fungus or mold that grew in there, and it would not be commanding at all. It would just be gross.
Yeah. And even more gross, they should know in those movies, like, oh, this doll is super creepy. There's no way I'm going to put this thing in my house. It looks like it's been living in a dumpster. And then they bring it in.
Idiots.
Dumb idea.
Yeah, I'd have to give this to Valak for sure.
Valak.
This is going to Valak.
All right, Night Owl with the first win. Let's see what the next one is. Predict number 2, because we do a 2 out of 3 scenario here, obviously. Who would make a better SNL host?
Ooh.
Interesting
Boom.
monologue.
I don't
either
know
way.
if I've heard Valak speak. I don't know if we've heard Annabelle speak.
Does Annabelle speak? If she does, it's got to be in like part 4 or something. It's never going to be the first movies. It's going to be like later on.
I know there's a demon behind Annabelle too, but she's also okay. Here's the thing: Annabelle, the doll, is a conduit for spirits, so it could summon things to speak for it. But
Oh, really? Is this like later Annabelle movies?
yeah, I think they talk about it more in like the
Like
second
in The
one.
Conjuring, they talk about it like, hey, like the doll's not haunted. Like you allowed a spirit to attach itself to the doll.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they're talking to the nurses.
So think of
that's
like
right.
yeah, Annabelle's essentially like the Pokemon Ditto, but for spirits.
Doesn't seem like a great SNL host. You know what I mean? Someone who's not like original.
True. Valak, I don't know if it could speak. It's got all them sharp teeth.
Think
That's
it
rough.
just
has
screeches
a-
mostly.
Yeah, it does screech quite a bit. That movie flopped too, so it's probably not going to have that
Well,
much.
Just because you're super screechy and like not super pleasant to listen to doesn't mean SNL won't let you host. They let Ashley Simpson do it.
Dang.
Ooh.
Dang.
On a Monday, I am.
You know, I can't totally explain the reason, but I'm kind of feeling Valak on this one. It just seems like Annabelle is a doll. You know, like even if she voices something else, at least Valak is, you know,
Spooky?
living of some kind. I don't even know what the right, like, more personified
Sentient.
than a doll.
Like it's more sentient than a doll that's being like, I don't know, moved around.
Yeah, like Valak's
you know?
like an actual demon.
Plus, the doll would never move when there's that many people watching it. That's how all creepy doll movies work.
True.
That's true.
If you're in
Can't
a big
move while it's
room
watching.
and you're filmed in front of a, you know, you're going out live, that doll ain't moving. That doll ain't moving anywhere.
I
It's
like
much
that
like
logic.
Kel's character in Mystery Men. He's only invisible if you don't look at him.
Classic. Mystery Men rules. For all we know, Annabelle is invisible, except when we look at her. I'm just saying.
It's very Schrodinger's cat.
I'm gonna have to go with the V for the W, everyone.
Yeah, I'll say Valak takes it.
Yeah, just
means Valak
because of how well
advances.
David put it, I'll vote for Valak.
Okay, so now we come down to the championship round, where we have this creepy nun against our man, Brendan Fraser, our reigning champ.
Hero of the channel.
Hero of
For
the
how-
people.
For how many episodes now? Probably about 4.
I think
Yeah.
this is 4.
He's having a nice,
Let's see
good
if-
run.
Let's see if we can wrap this up. Okay, so Valak versus Brendan Fraser. Who would direct a better Super Bowl halftime show?
All right. Okay.
Well, I would say that Brendan Fraser probably has more Hollywood experience.
And communication skills.
Yes, can speak.
Yeah.
Is a physical being.
Is not immediately terrifying.
True. He
The
also,
only thing I can say, devil advocate style, is that while Valak may not have experience in the entertainment industry, if Valak really had its heart set on pulling off a super awesome Super Bowl show, he's definitely got power. You know what I mean? Like tons of entertainment folks have quote unquote sold their soul to the devil. You know what I mean? Allegedly. So he's got to be able to pull some strings, and I bet it would be super metal. You know what I mean?
Ooh, interesting.
It would not be Maroon 5 doing the halftime show that year.
See, well, I think that would be cool. I think it would be seen as a horribly unsuccessful Super Bowl, though. Imagine if they went
for sure.
really metal with the halftime show.
They would lose some ad money.
Yeah, people would be upset about it, but
I'd say a lot more people would tune in to see a Brendan Fraser.
well, I
The
feel
Looney
like
Tunes would probably be there.
he'd be like, "Don't worry, guys, I got Sister Hazel on this halftime show."
Hey. I'm
Yeah,
going to
but-
go ahead and go with Brendan Fraser. I feel like there's a lot more points to say why he would be.
Yeah, I mean, the logical choice is Brendan Fraser.
I appreciate Frank's devil's advocacy, but I have to say that I can't pull me away from the Frasier. I just saw Blast from the Past last week, and I got to say,
so
guys,
good.
it was a blast from my past. It was very enjoyable.
Dude, that movie's so fun. Christopher Walken just like being down in a bunker and doesn't
Yeah.
know what year it is.
And Michelle ain't seen it before, so she thoroughly enjoyed it as well. It's so
movie's
charming.
great.
Okay, go watch Blast from the Past, everybody. Brendan Fraser's the victor today.
Dang.
Long may he reign.
Dang. Again. That's 5 for 5, maybe. You know what? I'm figuring out at the end of the year, I know we do our award show. Do we also do for the person who has held the most peeps and predicts championships?
Well, that's not the end of the year. The end of the year is the year in review. The award show is Oscar season.
Well, we're going to have to put one.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure this year Batman still holds the record. But
Yeah, that's what I'm honestly hoping. Every time we get somebody who starts on a really nice run like this, I'm like, can they dethrone Batman's like reign of terror? Like that would be
Yeah.
lovely.
well, if anything, maybe we can just make the award, person with the longest championship of peeps and predicts besides Batman.
Besides Batman.
We'll call it the Batman Streak Award.
Exactly.
Dun,
Frank doesn't look stoked on that. Anyway,
No, I had like
Yeah.
I had a physical reaction to that. I don't know if it's just because like I skipped lunch and I'm super hungry, but I like felt something in my gut.
yeah.
thanks for sticking around, everyone. Please check us out on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, David and Frank and Beans. You can check out all our other content on there, including Character Limit Exceeded, including Apollo City Comments, and Uninformed Movie Reviews. Check us out on Facebook and follow us on Instagram at Uninformed Movie Reviews. Thanks for sticking around.